Hey everyone. So I finally had a chance to play Callisto Protocol, which is currently on sale at the Epic Game Store for around $10 if you include the coupon. Now we all know this game didn't exactly have the best launch, and the audacity to charge $70, the numerous problems with regards to the gameplay, the story, the performance, it was an absolute nightmare. Definitely not worth the $70 initial asking price. So now that it's all the way down to $10 and even given away to almost free or practically free in some occasions, if I'm not mistaken, is it worth playing? Well, it really depends. So for me, the best way to approach this game is approach it like you are watching a D tier horror movie. Like you already know what you're getting into. It's a not so well written or not so well presented horror flick, but it's you're paying a low price anyway, so level your expectations. That for me is the best way to approach it, and especially gameplay wise, because even if they fixed pretty much most, not all but most of the bugs, it's still pretty much problematic gameplay wise, because the gameplay is fundamentally designed to be one-on-one, which is a strange direction because the game is about hordes of monsters and zombies because something goes horribly wrong, and yet the gameplay is designed to be one-on-one. So my suspension of disbelief kind of breaks because of that, because the moment you engage one monster, it's like all the other monsters that surrounds you, they cannot attack you except in a very narrow window when you're holding your attacks, but that's about it. So which is kind of strange, because why would you focus on a one-on-one melee battle against multitudes of monsters when in reality, they can easily overwhelm you. That's not to say that the one-on-one combat is fulfilling too. It feels a little weird-ish because the game kind of leans on dodging left and right, which you do at a tap of a button, compared to, let's say, like its rival game, Dead Space, where it relies on your precise shooting and shooting of the limbs to the necromorphs. That for me feels a lot more fulfilling than you having to dodge them and hitting them with your baton, which doesn't feel very satisfying. In fact, it feels so tanky that you have to hit them so many times before you take them down. And which leads me to my recommendation on how you should enjoy this game. So, for in my opinion, at least, you should play this on easy mode. Believe it or not. Believe me, I'm someone who likes to brag about my achievements too. If I play something on the hardest difficulty, or if I beat the boss on, or I beat this very difficult boss, kind of like a Souls game. But trust me, it is not worth it for this game. It's not worth measuring your gamer dick for this kind of game, because it's just so janky that it's better off playing it on easy so that you can kill them faster or take them down at a more ideal pacing. Like I said, enjoy this like an interactive movie, because in the final boss of both the main story and the story DLC, the mechanics are so frustrating that I just turned on all the possible handicap apart from the easy difficulty, just so that I can kill them faster. I was not willing to get through the systems or play the jankiness or get used to the jankiness just so I can kill the final boss. It's just not worth it in my opinion. But if you want to make the most out of your money, I suppose, then go ahead. But if you're looking for a quick fix type of game, like a game to for you to play over the weekend, then I strongly recommend that's what you do rather than having to endure the harder difficulties. Because even on easy mode, you will die multiple times. I know I did. I died plenty of times. In terms of the game's performance, it's a lot better now. And my PC is not exactly top of the line. My GPU is the RTX 2070, and my CPU is the i5 10400F. And it kind of runs fine on the ultra settings, with some frame drops in the cutscenes and sometimes the gameplay. You could argue that it's because of my hardware specifications why the frame drops, but then the rest of the game, it runs just fine. That's why I'm attributing it to a development bug or a technical issue rather than it being a hardware issue. Apart from that, there's also the texture pop in, but I think that is more of a hardware side rather than a technical side. So I'll give that kind of a pass, but I'm just sharing my experience. But that only happens at the initial loading of the game. The rest of the time, it's just fine. So, what about the story? It is kind of crappy, in my opinion. It's the most vanilla, the most predictable, the most generic story you can think of. The crazy cult leader as an antagonist, check. The doctor, quote unquote, regretting what she did, check. The stereotypical tough guy enforcer that treats you like crap, check. And it goes on and on. Chances are, if you try to predict how the story goes at the top of your head, 80 to 90% chance you will get it right, or maybe even get it in its entirety. That's how generic or plain vanilla the story is. So again, like I said, you enjoy this game like as if it's your predictable D-tier horror movie. That's why you're paying only like $10 rather than 70. I feel kind of terrible for the people who paid full price for this, as it is 100% not worth it. Even half of that, it's hard to argue why it is worth that price. The only kind of redeeming factor for the game is probably the audio. The audio kind of nails the vibe, but it's nothing out of the ordinary, nothing you haven't heard or experienced before. So to wrap up, is it worth the $10? Well, it depends. Like if you're looking to enjoy like a crappy game with your friends or family over the holidays for cheap, then I suppose yeah, it's worth trying out for yourself. But objectively speaking, if you want a very good game for $10, you have plenty of other options out there, especially with the ongoing sale over the holidays. There are much better games at that price or even cheaper. Clunky and janky gameplay, persistent performance issues, okay audio, terrible writing and story all inevitably culminate to a terrible game. And I only recommend it for morbid curiosity. And those are my thoughts for the Callisto Protocol at $10. I hope you guys enjoyed or found value in this video. And if you did, do consider subscribing for more content. Happy gaming, and I will see you next time.